Good day, everyone. How are you doing today? So, welcome to another episode with the Poetic Debbie. So, I was thinking that instead of going into the analysis of poem, we could start with talking about what poetry is, because I'm 50% sure that I would have beginners, people who know nothing about poems, and then I think we can start with saying what poem is and what poem is not. So, what is poetry? So, from what I have here, poetry is a distinct form of literary expression. It is characterized by its use of language, rhythm, sound, and emotion to convey meaning in a concentrated and imaginative way. Now, when we say poetry is a distinct form of literary expression, we say that poetry is connected to literature. Poetry is connected to something that is creative, and that it is connected with art, work of art. Poetry is literally a work of art, something that is done heartily. It is done with heart in view. So poetry has some sort of characteristics that make it distinct. It makes it stand out in the sense that the use of language is different. The use of emotion, because in writing poetry, there are some sort of emotions that is sprung up by the poet, by the writer. That's the poet. So, and these emotions convey meaning in a way that it is always divine. It conveys meaning in a way that it is distinct and it's in an imaginative way. We have several scholars, we have several people that has defined poetry in several ways, in different divine and distinct ways. Yes, so Aristotle in Poetics defined poetry as a form of imitation, and imitation in Greek means mimesis, that represents human actions through rhythm, language, and harmony. Now, if Aristotle is saying that poetics is a form of imitation, I totally agree with it, yes, because if a poet will pick his pen and a book to write, he will write from what he has experienced. He writes down his emotion, he writes down what he feels, he writes down what he thinks, he writes down what he has experienced, he writes down what he has seen, and whatever he thinks, whatever he sees, whatever he does, that he puts into action, it is culture, it is human way of life. And one thing about poetry is that poetry is so divine that when we see a poem and we read them, the meaning that we get from it can be different from what we get later on. Okay? Like the meaning we get today, the meaning I get from a work of art, a poem that I read today, can be a little bit different in meaning if I read it again, maybe in the next 2 weeks or in the next 1 month. Yes, the meaning of a poem cannot be underrated. It's not